Hello, and welcome to Paranormal in Pennsylvania.
Where we discuss history and haunts.
Today's story takes us up north from Pittsburgh to Harmony, PA. I'm Sarah.
And I'm David.
Let's get into it. So today we're going to discuss Harmony, PA, specifically the Harmony Inn there. And we went there as a group, and we went for lunch, and we also explored the town. It was a really cute town. I'd never been before.
Yeah, it's a small town for sure, like really small town, but it's very cute.
Yeah, and the food was really good.
Yeah, the food at the inn was very good. They also had beer there, and beer was also good.
Yeah, we sat on the patio, and we did not have any paranormal experiences here, but we did have a good time. So, history. Harmony, PA was founded in 1804 by the Harmony Society of German Lutheran Separatists. It's about 30 miles north of Pittsburgh. In 1814, the Harmonists sold the property to a group of Mennonites. So what's interesting is we went to the Harmony weaving cabin, and she kept saying the Harmonists, but the Harmonists actually only owned the land for 10 years. So really it's the Mennonites who shaped it.
Well, wasn't she telling us that the Harmonists were only there for a short period of time before they picked up and moved on?
That might be true.
I thought that they went further out west to Chicago, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that could be true. In 1856, Austin Pierce built the Harmony Inn as a residence for his family, but he then sold the building to the Ziegler family, who purchased it and turned it into a hotel and saloon. It was actually one of the first buildings in Harmony to have indoor plumbing. In 1900, the Ziegler family added to the hotel to expand it and accommodate more guests because it became a pretty popular stopping place. And in 1985, so the Ziegler family had it for years, 100 years. In 1985, it changed hands again. And it is currently a restaurant and craft brewery with North Country Brewing serving up beers here. So that's the beer that you mentioned.
Yes.
So now to talk about the ghost stories. The inn does lean into the hauntings and even has photos on the wall of various ghosts that have been captured there. We didn't see any ghosts when we were there, but next time I think we need to be bolder and ask to go to more places in the inn, because they were really we went in, walked through the bar, went to the bathrooms, and then were outside on the patio. We did walk around the outside though and take a ton of photos. So there are reports of furniture being rearranged on its own, and when objects are moved, they're specifically attributed to a ghost named Barney. People have reported experiencing temperature changes from extremely hot to extremely cold in the bar area, and there are also reports of a little girl in a white dress that roams the dining areas. Now, we walked in, and what I gathered from when we walked in is it was just that hall to the bar. But apparently if you go around the bar, there's a ton of indoor seating that we just missed. Psychics have said that the young girl that's in the dining area that we unfortunately did not see might be a young girl with a limp who died there. And she was the daughter of a previous owner. So the records of her didn't say her name, just that she walked with a limp. And the psychics, however, say that this girl has said her name is Emily, and that she feels sad, but she isn't a malicious spirit. And some say that whatever is causing her limp also caused her to die there.
That's kind of terrible that it's just a sad ghost.
I know, a sad little girl.
A sad little girl that hasn't moved on. That's pulls at your heart a little bit.
Yeah. While walking through the inn, people report seeing faces in the doorways. And more specifically, there's an older woman who peers out of rooms upstairs and a young boy who seems to peer out of doorways and be up to mischief.
Sounds about right for a young boy.
Right, yeah. My mom actually ate here with some of her friends after we went and recommended it to her. And her friend said that they did see shadow figures in the upstairs windows, which I thought was interesting.
Spooky.
Yeah, indeed. A previous owner bought the inn in the mid-'80s. As I said, it changed hands in 1985. And the day he moved into the building, when he opened the front door, He was greeted by an icy blast of air that appeared to be coming down the stairs, and it was so significant that it blew his hat off of his head. He attributed this to the spirits that live there wanting him to know that they were present. Also in the 1980s, the owners painted the fence outside red, and when a waitress walked into the bar, she saw a book called Gus the Great was open specifically to page 438, and she was reading the page, and one of the quotes on the page was, "A repulsive abomination has been perpetrated. Hoodlums had desecrated it with a paintbrush." And so they think that it was a ghost that used to live in the inn that was unhappy with the red paint color.
That's funny.
I know.
But also spooky.
Right, because, so, always a skeptic's lens. It could just be that this book happened to have blown open to this page, but to have it say a repulsive abomination has been perpetrated, hoodlums have desecrated it with a paintbrush the day that they're painting the fence, that seems unlikely to be a coincidence.
I love the kind of pettiness that goes with that.
Right. Yeah, it's like, we will let you know. While working at the bar, McCafferty, who purchased the building in 2013, reported that he felt icy fingers along his spine. He also witnesses pint glasses levitating and a specter in the basement. He also claims that ghosts have flung coins at his head, which must be pretty startling for a new owner.
Yeah, that's my first skeptic side of me is so was it the little boy with mischief? It sounds like it's not the sad little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't sound like it really would be the woman upstairs either.
Right, or the man who moves furniture.
So, yeah, it doesn't sound like Barney, right? That was his name?
Yeah. Well, speaking of coins, there is a ghost that is typically tied to coins. So the ghost's name is Louis, and he's said to specifically leave dimes hidden around the inn. Which, if we go back, that's something we should absolutely look for, any dimes that we see. And legend says that he might be the original innkeeper, leaving money to try to help out the future innkeepers.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's really sweet. And I think it's extra funny because a dime was so much money back then.
Right.
So he's leaving small fortunes, he thinks.
Right. It's trivial amount now. But
right. But he's like, man, I gotta help them out. Here's a whole dime.
Yeah, that's funny. Or if somebody drops a dime, he's like, oh, yoink.
He's like, oh man,
I'm gonna put this for them later.
Yeah, but it's so sweet. And they actually brought mediums in to try to figure out if this was the original innkeeper, and they haven't confirmed that he's the original innkeeper, but they have confirmed that he's tied to the location for good. So he's always going to be there apparently.
Interesting.
He can actually be seen in a rocking chair on the front porch of the inn or in the upstairs rooms roaming. So people have seen photos of the original innkeeper and then seen this ghost, and they say it's the same person. That's
really cool, but it sounds like a fatherly type of person.
Right. I mean, he's the OG, so.
Right. So what about the specter in the basement?
There's nothing, I don't think, on that, and nothing else on that.
We'll have to go back and ask about the specter in the basement.
Yeah. A common sighting is a man appearing in mirrors, and there was actually a photographer who captured a photo of this man appearing behind him in the mirror, and the photo hangs in the bar area of the inn today. So next time we're there, we'll have to take photos in mirrors, because wasn't the bar mirrored? Do you remember? Yeah, Erica's nodding yes.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
We'll have to do that. Although I do, as I've said on previous podcasts, absolutely hate that trope. It freaks me out so much. The person behind you in the mirror.
Yeah, you love that.
Yeah.
You love when I come home and I'm quiet and then
Because I don't know why you do that to me. When what we do is talk about ghosts all day. And I'll pull back the shower curtain and you're just standing there in our tiny bathroom. And then I scream at the top of my lungs and you go, hey.
Well, it's not my fault. I do announce myself. You just don't hear me.
Don't hear it, yeah.
My voice does not travel very far.
And I'm busy listening to other podcasts. Shout out Twice the Terror, Ghoul on Ghoul, So it doesn't help that I'm listening to ghost stories when you scare me. Anyways, During breakouts of typhoid and other communicable diseases, children of the town were quarantined in the attic to avoid infecting others. And the thought was that the diseases spread more easily among children because they were constantly playing with each other. So by keeping them away from the adults, the kids would get better because they were younger, and the adults wouldn't get sick. Some did die there, and there are now reports of children laughing in the attic. There are also reports of hearing children running up and down the stairs, slamming doors, and even sightings of actual children. One worker said the ghost that they saw looked so much like a live child that he almost fell backwards down the stairs when he saw it, because he knew there wouldn't be a child up there. In the dining room, oh, this is a cute story. In the dining room, there's a loose brick, and we will look for it next time we go. Apparently, the manager removed the brick and found a collection of toy soldiers and other collectible toys behind it. He removed the toy collection to try to, get the brick back in there. But the soldiers would appear around the restaurant as if someone was moving them and placing them. And it would be in very conspicuous places, like the middle of the floor or the middle of the bar. And he decided that he should put everything back where he found it, and he replaced everything behind the brick, and the hauntings stopped. Currently, customers are said to leave notes, trinkets, and even money as an offering to this ghost.
A singular ghost? Because that sounds like a bunch of kids playing.
It could be it could be the kids from the attic too.
Yeah, it could have been some of their toys.
Or it could just be one kid ghost leaving a bunch of little toy soldiers out.
Like the mischievous boy.
That's true, actually. I didn't make that connection. It could be him.
Yeah, since he likes to peer out at you from behind a door.
Yeah, he's like, have you seen it? My little toy soldier? So we're going to have to bring an offering if we go back. So the final story of this haunting is not from the Harmony in itself, but from a nearby location. And I think this is really crazy because it is our first discussion of fairies, which I never really thought we would have on the podcast. We normally tend towards the spooky and dark. So the lore goes that fairies were roaming the Pennsylvania countryside looking for a place to spend their spring and summer. In this lore, fairies migrate. They stumbled upon Harmony and discovered a grove of elderly trees at Neff House. The fairy flew back home to get her friends, and now every spring and summer they return to the treetops in Harmony. And if you're looking to find this location, it's specifically called, I think, Neff House Creamery. Right now it's an ice cream place, and they have a little boardwalk out back where you can walk underneath the trees. We didn't see anything, but they do have like little houses hanging from the trees and little like fairy figurines hanging.
Yes.
So a brief story, but I thought it was cute. So now to answer the question, would you go to this place of paranormal phenomena? And my answer is absolutely yes. It seems like these ghosts are pretty cool. None of them seem bad. I think it would be cool to like bring dimes, bring toys, like really engage with these ghosts now that we know more about them. But what about you?
Yeah, give me a beer too, and I'll be more than happy to go.
Right, and the food is good, and it was like, we enjoyed the town.
The staff was also friendly. It's all good.
Yeah, it was good all around. I would love to do a ghost hunt here if they do them. I know that they do lean into the paranormal nature of it, or even really to go at night since we were there during the day and walk around more. I think there's a lot left to discover here.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in for this week's episode of Paranormal in Pennsylvania. Check in next Thursday to see what history and hauntings we discuss next.
Spooky.